So Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is looking like it's going to be a pretty massive game in terms of the scale and the magnitude. It's nothing groundbreaking necessarily, but it does seem like it is going to have a hell of a lot going for it. And so today I wanted to go over 5 huge details about the game that you guys may not have known. Now the first one on this list is pretty much related to what I just said about the scale and the magnitude, and this is in reference to the map, because apparently the map in this game is going to be absolutely massive. Now Joe Raptor, who is a fellow YouTuber, he was actually lucky enough to go and play the game over in, I believe, Malmo in Sweden, which is where Massive Entertainment Studios are. He has done some content on the game, so be sure to go and check that out. But he did just tweet the other day saying each region in Avatar Frontiers at Pandora is considerably larger than the entire maps of both the Division games. There are 3 regions in the game. Now, the Division maps were definitely not small. For a bit of context, because obviously not everyone would have played the Division. If you played Fallout 4, the map is pretty much the exact same size in Fallout 4 as it is in the first Division game. And then again, if you haven't played Fallout 4, I'm pretty sure most people watching this would have played GTA 5 at some point. And the map of the Division, the first game anyway, the size of that is pretty much about the same size as Los Santos in GTA 5. So not the entire map, but just the actual city, or it's technically based on LA. The actual city area is pretty much the same size as that. And like he said in that tweet, it is considerably larger. So each region is not going to be the same size as Los Santos. It's pretty much going to be, I would guess, I don't know, 1.5 times the size of it, if he's going to go and say considerably larger. And then you obviously have to times that by 3 because there are 3 regions in the game. So we're looking at potentially 4 to 5 times the size of Los Santos in GTA 5, which is not small. Obviously the actual top of the map in GTA 5 is a lot bigger, but that being said, that is a freaking massive map nonetheless. And when you consider that, in comparison to the entire GTA 5 map, we're probably looking, if I had to guess, at roughly twice the size of that, maybe give or take. And so we're looking at a pretty damn big map here, which is going to be pretty awesome. And from everything we've seen of the map so far, it looks very lush in terms of the sheer amount of stuff there is going on, whether that's even just in the jungle areas. There may not be a bunch of enemies, there may not be the little outposts and stuff, but just the sheer amount of foliage and all that kind of thing, it looks pretty insane from everything we've seen. So not only is it going to be a very dense map, but it's going to be freaking massive as well, according to some of these tweets. Now, the next thing on the list here is actually to do with the, I guess, gear in the game, the outfits and stuff like that. This game is going to have stats on the cosmetics. Now, that's not something that always happens when it comes to these type of games that are based on some sort of franchise. Obviously, when you look at a game like, for example, Skyrim, or you look at Elden Ring or something like that, those more open world RPG type of games, generally the armor sets and stuff in those games will have stats. So obviously there will be different armor that is just objectively better than the other armor. Whereas when you look at, say, Spider-Man 2 that came out just a few months ago, pretty much all of those, there's 78 different suits in that game and they all just have the same stats. There's no difference between any of them. However, that will not be the case in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Each, I guess, cosmetic that you can equip, it will have its own stats. So some of them will be objectively better than others. There may be some that suit certain playstyles a little bit differently and stuff like that. So that is pretty interesting to know, because like I said, not all of these type of games do actually have that system. A lot of games that are based on, I guess, pre-existing franchises, or movie franchises, for example, they will generally just go with kind of simple cosmetics that look different and that's all they do. But this game is going to actually have stats on those cosmetics. So that is pretty cool to see, and it will make, I think, us as players have a little bit more to do in terms of trying to find all of the best cosmetics and stuff like that. And especially for me as a creator, I'm very keen to get into that side of the game, because that's where I probably get my most enjoyment when it comes to making content, in terms of trying to find all the best cosmetics and stuff like that, to pretty much share all of that with you guys. So if you guys enjoy that type of content, trying to find the best armor sets and stuff like that, be sure to keep your eyes peeled on the channel. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is plenty more Avatar content on the way, both in the lead up to launch, and then, like I said, there will be plenty of that kind of thing once the game is actually out. Now, moving on, something that I honestly did not expect about this game when we first saw the reveal trailer. I thought it would be pretty similar to just a game like Far Cry, and a lot of people are making that same comparison. But something this game will have that Far Cry definitely does not have is kind of a level of parkour mechanics involved in the game. Now, it's not quite on the level of, I don't know, Mirror's Edge, for example. It is a genuine parkour game. It's also not like Assassin's Creed or something like that, but there will be a lot of sort of running through the treetops using different plants to get from point A to point B. We see throughout a lot of the gameplay that's been released now, these sort of lily pad looking plants that kind of flick you up into the air, and they can get you to different locations in these treetops that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. There are also plenty of different vines to climb up, and the traversal in this game is looking pretty damn awesome, which, like I said, I did not really expect that kind of thing to be in this game. I thought it would be a bit more like boots on the ground combat, general exploration. We also know that there is like the Ikrans or the Banshees that are going to give us that sort of air combat and air traversal in general, and that is pretty much all I thought this game would be offering in terms of the traversal. But like I said, there is going to be some level of like parkour mechanics involved in this game, and I think that is pretty cool because we do see a fair bit of that in the movies as well. The Na'vi are obviously a very athletic and agile species, and that's going to be pretty cool running around the treetops of Pandora, essentially doing parkour through the treetops to get to our location. Now, another huge detail when it comes to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is actually to do with the post-launch content, and surprisingly, they've pretty much given all the information that we need to know prior to the game even launching. Generally, this type of thing wouldn't release until maybe the game has launched or even a few months afterwards, but they have actually given us pretty much their entire roadmap when it comes to post-launch content. The game is going to have a season pass model, and it is pretty much involved with the deluxe edition and stuff like that. So if you pre-order the deluxe edition, you will actually get the season pass included with that, and there are going to be 2 different content drops planned after launch, as well as actually a bonus mission that will be available right at launch for those with the season pass. Now, they've kind of gone into a bit more detail in terms of the actual drops, I guess, the actual 2 DLC packs almost that are going to be launching after the game. I'm not going to go too much into what they revealed simply because it's not necessarily spoilers, but they pretty much outlined the storyline of those missions, and I will probably save that for a separate video just for the sake of not spoiling it for anyone who doesn't really want to hear about the story, because for me personally, I don't really want to hear about it either. I want to experience that for myself as a player, but just know that there will be 2 what seem to be pretty big content launches after the launch of the actual game, and they're going to be full-on story content. It's not just going to be like, I don't know, a bunch of cosmetics and stuff. There will be legitimate like story add-ons, so that is pretty exciting. There's also going to be a pre-order skin that will obviously come with any pre-orders as well, and on top of that, there will be then a PS5 exclusive skin that comes with that if you pre-order the game on PS5, and I believe it may even be not for pre-orders. It may actually just be anyone buying it on PS5, whether you pre-order or not. And so for me, that is actually really exciting. A lot of single player games don't often come with DLC these days, and when they do, we don't really hear about it for a long time. You look at Spider-Man 2, for example, really solid game. We know there's probably going to be DLC, but we don't actually know, and even if we did know for a fact, we don't necessarily know what that's going to be either. So it is pretty cool that they've actually shared all the info that we need to know, and I'll probably do a proper dedicated video to that if you guys want to hear more about the actual story outlines of both of those DLC packs. Now, the last huge detail that I wanted to go over in this video is something that I have actually mentioned in a previous video, but it is something that has gone seemingly massively under the radar when it comes to this game. A lot of people just don't seem to be talking about it. I don't know if that's just because it's not out there or not, if just people aren't interested, but this game is entirely co-op if you do want to go down that route. Now, if you just want to play it by yourself, that is obviously completely doable, and that's what most people will experience. But if you want to play this game from start to finish with a friend, you can actually do that, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. It is pretty rare these days that is something that, you know, can be done. I feel like a lot of games way back, maybe when I was younger, used to be sort of co-op compatible, and outside of a few, I can't really remember, you know, more than a handful in the last 10 years or so that have been co-op from start to finish, unless that is something to do with the actual selling point. For example, A Way Out or It Takes Two from Hazelight, those are obviously based around that. But when it comes to just big single player games, it's pretty rare that you can play the game in co-op. Now, you can do online co-op. Unfortunately, you can't do like couch co-op, which is a bit of a shame, but I do understand that. But you can do the whole thing from start to finish with a buddy, which is going to be pretty cool. So it's not just like the type of thing where you can join each other's lobby, for example, but you can't do the main missions at the same time or something like that. You can do it from start to finish and even save the game at the same point for each player. And something that I thought was really cool is that you can even swap items between each player as well. So if I'm playing with a friend and they've got a skin that I really like and they don't really want it, I can actually take that off them and equip that on my Na'vi. So I thought that was awesome. Like I said, not only is co-op pretty rare these days, but doing that where you can actually switch items between players, I'd argue that's even rarer in the current, you know, single player game sort of genre. So very, very keen for that. I may try and look into doing that as a stream series or something like that. So be sure to let me know if you are interested in that, because I do think co-op in this game is going to be pretty damn awesome. But anyway, those are 5 huge details that I thought you guys should know when it comes to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I'm keen to hear your thoughts on all of it, so be sure to let me know down in the comments section. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.